Daredevil Born Again Episode 3 is absolute trash. I hate it. Alright, so obviously this is going to be some spoiler stuff. Let's start with the most obvious thing. The brutal violence at the end of the second episode is just nothing. It goes nowhere. I believe this actually even starts with Murdoch talking to one of the cops who he brutalized, and the dude just has like a black eye despite getting like face slammed into the ground so violently that many of us were thinking, that guy's dead. I think Murdoch just killed someone. But nope, dude just got a black eye, and Matt makes some quip about it in court. So already you know this is just stupid, and like no sense of consequence, like just absolutely dumb. The other thing that really bothers me is the whole resolution of the Victor Ayala White Tiger story in this. This whole episode is the case, and this could have, you should be smart enough to write it. I know this is a Frankenstein thing, and I know everybody was unhappy with the initial episodes, but my God, the damage this episode does to like anybody who was going to continue watching. And to be honest, the ratings were low for it anyways. I mean, the Acolyte beat it. That's not great. In the previous episode, Murdoch says that it is immaterial that this guy is the White Tiger, which is, of course, as we all know, nonsense, and you would never get away with it. Well, after two separate witnesses lie on the stand, which, like I said, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty sure before you even get to court, you have like signed affidavits, or you know, they've done interviews, or there's some kind of document, something somewhere that would point to like what they're supposed to testify to. That way you don't just have people constantly going on like up there and perjuring themselves. You have to have some kind of backstop, I would say, to like prove perjury. And I feel those documents would be well in place, and those testimonies would be kind of like well in place before they get to court. But I'm not a lawyer, so what do I know? I just know it seemed ridiculous that people are just getting up there and lying. And then Murdoch has to introduce the fact that Victor is the White Tiger. Come on. And then Victor's like, it's not your secret to tell. And it's like, well, so is it going to be a separate like charge for vigilantism? Because they probably should have dropped that. I mean, honestly, when they found out, they probably should have just added vigilantism to it as well. This shouldn't have come as a twist. It should have been well known. All these things should have been well established. But they don't, because it's not very good writing. They reconcile everything by saying that Victor Ayala is a good man. And because he's a vigilante, he's a good man. And he's even helped save a bunch of cops, which, you know, true. But he gets off, and he's like, okay. And Murdoch's like, you know, you're not supposed to be a vigilante anymore. And he goes, no, it's a calling. It's who I am. So he gets in his White Tiger costume. And literally when you say street level crime, I didn't think they meant walking down the street. Like, he just walks down the street, steps out of like he just like approaches a corner. A man with a gun comes and shoots him point blank in the head. And then they do this awful like teasing like, uh-oh, is that Frank Castle? Because they show the Punisher. No, we already know there's a whole organization, because you keep showing us the world's most obvious Punisher tattoos, that there's like the Sons of the Punisher. I mean, they also clearly linger on this one cop a little too long. You're like, okay, so this is the guy who actually did it, not Frank. So we know it's not going to be Frank, and we know that people, you know, using his like iconography is what going to bring Matt and Frank back together. And I'm not even sure I'm interested in how they're going to resolve that. But this episode is just such a waste of time. Fisk and Vanessa are still kind of like quipping at each other. Fisk is alluding to a larger like goal, larger plan. And Vanessa is like, you're punishing me by tearing down the Empire. It's like, he's not, God. I really feel like there probably was going to be a lot more therapy in this episode, but mercifully they were smart and chose to ignore it. This episode, not doing anyone any favors. Huge momentum killer. Really, you can see like the mediocre and crap writing that had been in the show prior. I just, tough. Not recommended. Also, like, Matt's new girlfriend needs to calm down. This is only episode 3, and she's already like, I was wondering when you were going to talk to me about Foggy. He's been on screen for 15 minutes. Relax.